Good evening, everyone. Kia ora. My name's Jack. Welcome to our info session. This is the first one we've done in 2026. So it's welcome to 2026, even though it's April. And welcome to the maybe 50 minutes to up to an hour that we'll do together here on Dev Academy, why we're a really good choice as a programming school, and the for career changes into the industry and for folks who are starting out in their careers and thinking about where they go next. We're going to hear from, I'm going to be able to talk a little bit about a range of different things, including where some of our graduates are, the things that make us special, and also the program itself. And we get to hear from Nikki, who's a graduate from the program and is working at E-Road, a technology company in Auckland on the shore, and has been in a previous role before that, graduated recently. So this is a really good time for us. We really encourage people to ask questions. You can do that by unmuting and sharing your question, or you can do it through the chat. All are good options. The conversation that we have tonight is really guided by what we've planned and also what people need to know. So please lean in, make sure that you're getting your questions answered. So here's our team. We've been running Dev Academy for about 15 years. 2013, sorry, was the first boot camp. And the program is as designed as a core program, as a boot camp, the 9 week intensive that you then go on, that you do a pre-material on called Foundations and a post-material on called Careers. In 2012, we spoke to over 40 employers who, at that time, were struggling really to find developers because it was such a boom time. They were really struggling to find developers, and we saw an opportunity in the market. What surprised us, we went to speak to a whole handful of employers across the country. And in that time, what surprised us at speaking to them is we thought they would say you need to know how to really know how to code. You really need to know how to write software. Every piece of syntax needs to be perfect. You need to be in the technical detail all the time. But what they said to us is that they were looking for different things from software developers. They were looking for people who could give and take feedback, who could collaborate with others, who could work at high intensity and flexibly, could manage themselves, ask for help when they needed to, and work well in a team through their program and through their teamwork and software development lifecycle. We love that because being people who are really motivated by growing the whole person, and this was our co-founders, Joshua and Rohan, the opportunity felt really, really, really exciting. What we've done over the years is smash together tech and human skills, which is the curriculum that we call or that we deliver in the program, into creating a training that develops your whole person and it gives you all of the skills, the professional and the technical skills that you need to get work as a developer in the industry. So since our first boot camp in 2013, we've spoken to employers every year throughout that process, every year, every month, every quarter, every week. And they say similar things to us. We're now in an era where AI is really changing the picture very quickly of what it means to technically be a developer. We're finding that developers are spending less time hand coding software, and we're finding that developers are spending more time managing teams of agents or managing teams of AIs. And that is a whole new world that we're in. So last year we did another significant round of consultation with our employers, and we came out with a number of other really interesting, I think, and relevant insights. They were looking for developers who were creative, who could problem solve, who knew how to learn fast and pick up documentation and pick up new practices fast, and who had a sense of their own ability to make stuff. Developers in these employers' eyes could go out and say, this feature needs to be built. I want to build it. I'm going to put something together and then I'm going to be able to show back what I've made. And they also said they were really looking for developers who were very curious about what was out there, really wanted to understand both the user and the product and the technologies that are available right now. So it's fast, it's changing very, very fast. But what we're finding is that those core skills are really still absolutely essential in whether you're a full stack web developer, a software developer, an AI engineer, or an AI software developer. I mean, those are all roles that we're starting to see emerge more and more in the industry today. What we also set out to do in those early days was to establish a better, kinder, more diverse tech industry. And when you come to Dev Academy, you get an opportunity to be part of that in the bootcamp experience. You get an opportunity to learn through our values, integrity, kindness, and effort, like which we call it. And you get an opportunity to and our graduates who are out there, the 1,500 or 1,700 graduates who are out there in industry, are actively shaping the industry right now. And we're blown away with how significant that's been across the years. Yeah. So why Dev Academy? We are the program that trains software developers the fastest in the entire country. You can graduate in 17 weeks with a level 6 qualification, or you can do our part-time program, which many of you will be looking at, which is 46 weeks, which runs from July to June next year as our next intake. This 400 is too small. I looked today at our employers and I realized that we've got over 700 employers, 738 employers that have a Dev Academy grad in their companies. That some of them have multiple. Xero, for example, as far as we can tell, when we track someone's first job, they've got 14 of our hired 14 of our graduates straight out at least. And many of them say to us that it's the human skills that make a difference between a good software developer and a great software developer. So we train that in the program. And like I say, our employers come back to us and they say, can we have more, please? We had an instance of that in Christchurch last week where they had gone through an extensive hiring process. They interviewed out of 100 applicants, they'd interviewed 5 or 6, not found someone that they really loved. So they came to our team and they said, we actually just want another Dev Academy graduate. Could you put someone forward? And they end up hiring that person. And then we have comments like Kadin here who says, throughout 3 years of my bachelor's, I felt like I remained the same person, talking about his earlier training at university, whereas in 3 months of Dev Academy, it transformed me. And I'm like, this is what keeps me in this work. This is what keeps me in this work, helping to grow the next generation of software development talent in the country. So here's a little taster. You're going to have questions about the history and what we're doing today, and you'll also have questions about the job market and the industry as it stands and where we're going with AI and maybe the curriculum as well. But I think the next slide, and to prep you, Nikki, the next slide is to hand across to you. So we'll hear a little bit from Nikki, who, as I say, is out there building software today.
Oh my gosh, here we go. Great. Okay, perfect. So if you can see my screen, just a little background on me. Hi, everyone. I'm Nikki. I actually started out studying fashion from 2020 to 2023. So I completed a fashion degree at AUT. And then soon after I graduated, I pretty quickly realized that fashion was a little bit more of a passion project rather than something I wanted to be doing full time. So I discovered coding while working as a store manager at Skechers. And through word of mouth, so kind of reiterating what Jack was saying before, that employers in New Zealand really do love Dev Academy graduates, I actually got told that I should have a look at the program. So ended up deciding on Dev Academy because, again, that short time space, we are really able to completely pivot your career and you don't have to go back to university and do a whole nother bachelor's degree, which was, something that I just completed the year prior. And I also realized after doing a bit of coding that it just really clicked for me. It's a really great way to problem solve and also get involved in a really rapidly evolving industry. So it's something that's constantly changing. You're constantly getting to learn new things. To speak on a little bit of Dev Academy. So what you'll see on screen now is actually the project that I made with my group. So at the end of the boot camp, you'll get into a group together and you'll actually do a final group project. So we created this app called Stalgic. To speak a little bit on the actual experience of going through the boot camp, it's very intense, but you get to learn so much in a short space of time with a lot of hands-on support. So you really do have that support network and people encouraging you every day, and those one-on-one training sessions, which you wouldn't really get in a bigger program or if you were just sitting in a class. So you really do get that really tailored experience. And what I do love about Dev Academy is the balance of human skills and technical skills. So they really do invest a lot of time in being able to train you on not just what skills you need to learn, but how to learn and how to adapt. I have to say that balance is the thing that set me up most for moving into the actual industry and getting my first job. So to speak a little bit about what I've been doing since Dev Academy, I got my first role at a company called FNZ. So they're a financial technology company, and what I was working on was portfolio management and kind of end-to-end features, which I hadn't actually worked on at Dev Academy, but Dev Academy is what set me up to actually be able to ask questions, be able to communicate clearly with my team, be able to work with others in a really fast moving environment. But I think being able to ask for help and really leverage those human skills that you learn at Dev Academy just make you learn that much faster and actually work in a really impactful and effective way. So what Jack was speaking about earlier is the fun story that I have. So when I first was in my first round of applying to jobs, when I was about to go into FNZ, I did have to apply to multiple companies to actually land that first job. But then this time around, I've just 3 weeks ago started working at eRoad, which is a fleet management technology company. So I only applied to eRoad, which was really exciting. So after you do have that initial first job, I find the second job after that is definitely a lot easier because you're able to speak to having proper industry experience. And of course, that's what Dev Academy set up in the first place. If there's and one other thing I might add in here is that every single day you do work in an agile format with teams, which is something that Dev Academy really did facilitate while we were doing the boot camp. That was something that I've had to use every single day as well at both of my jobs. And finally, if there's one thing that I would like to leave you with from my kind of brief overview of my journey, is that there's no single path into tech. And you don't have to have it all figured out yet, because as a junior developer, everybody is willing to teach you as long as you have the initiative and you have the drive and you have the curiosity to be able to ask those questions and communicate clearly, which is something that Dev Academy will set you up for. So yeah, that's that's kind of my little presentation that I put together about my
Oh,
journey. So I'll
thank
pass the screen
you.
back to you.
Thanks so much. I'll pull this slide back up, which we had before. And that should be live again now. Nikki, may I ask you a couple of questions?
Of course.
And folks, do jump in if you've got them as well. We're going to take lots of time. We'll take time to cover things as people come up with them. Nikki, did you consider between different options going into Dev Academy, or once you'd heard about it, like tell us about that earlier process where you're like, should I,
Yeah,
shouldn't I?
definitely. So because I just finished my fashion degree, I was actually considering, oh, do I, go back to university and do I do a whole year there? I was also considering other kind of routes, like whether I did a whole computer science degree. But what really stood out to me and why I decided on Dev Academy, because I know that it does feel like a big risk, especially if you're doing the full-time course. So because I, quit my job. When I was working at Sketches, I quit my job and I committed my whole time just to Dev Academy, which felt really scary. But in terms of the time that it takes to get a really high level of teaching and of learning, and in the whole scheme of things, I found that going to Dev Academy for 5 months rather than going back to university for 3 years, I've got the same jobs now that I would have had that the other juniors have at my job. So, and they've got computer science degrees. I was actually talking to this with some of the other developers at eRoad yesterday. We were all sitting around and they said, "Oh, so where did you study?" I said, "Dev Academy." They go, "What?" I've got a whole computer science degree. And I said, "Yeah, I know. That's what's great about tech is that when you find the right place, which is what I believe is that Dev Academy is the right place, you will end up just exactly where they are." Yeah.
Super cool. And so you were looking at the difference between should I do a 3-year degree or a
Yeah.
graduate diploma or something like this or Dev Academy. And you
Yeah.
must have been in that point in that process and thought, actually, at some point it became clear. Can
It
you think
did.
back to that time?
Yeah, it was. Well, I was actually sitting. So, my stepmom, she works in tech. She's actually at Harmony now. And I
Okay.
was actually sitting with her because my dad and my stepmom, they got a house down. This is just a little personal story, but I'll tell you anyway. We were sitting down at they just bought a house down in Clark's Beach. And I remember sitting around the table with my dad and my stepmom. And I was talking to them saying, "Oh, I really, really do want to get into tech, but I'm just so scared that if I quit my job and then I'm not able to get another job, then what if it all falls apart?" And they said to me, sometimes it's worth taking that risk and just
Mm.
seeing what happens. So that was the moment where I went back to the website and I went apply. Yeah.
Awesome. 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 And tell us about anything, tell us about sitting in your team at the moment, the kind of mentorship support that you have, or the something that surprised you in terms of the way that the teams are structured, either at eRoad or at FNZ, that's been like a positive.
Yeah. Yeah, so something that surprised me that was a really big positive was because I've always been a bit of a felt like I was a bit of a perfectionist when that's what I
Mm.
discovered actually doing human skills at Dev Academy. So I
Yeah.
always wanted to, come in and then do a really awesome job. But what I've realized after actually working in the industry is that doing an awesome job is showing up and asking questions and letting yourself be mentored and be helped. I
Yeah.
think that's definitely a big thing that I've learned is all the seniors that are mentoring you, they expect you to be a junior. They
Mm.
what they're looking for is for you to be able to say what you need, how they can help, how you can kind of be part of your own learning journey. Yeah,
Mm.
it's something that definitely surprised me. So supportive. Tech industry people, really supportive.
Yeah, great. And you would have done a number of, we'll get into the curriculum overview in a moment, but just to like point, you've mentioned human skills, you've mentioned your final group project. Was there something else in the curriculum that you were like really, that surprised you or that you were like, that you enjoyed or that you thought was an important part?
Yeah, so something else that I really did enjoy was getting to. So every Friday when I was doing the boot camp, we would do these just group day projects with the other
Mhm.
people in our cohort.
Yeah.
So we would get to have a little taster of what it's like to be creating something together in a team with the different agile roles and getting to rotate around those. That's something that I really enjoyed because you never knew what you were going to come up with because you started planning on that same day. I'm actually doing a hackathon with eRoad at the moment, so it's quite similar to that. So rather than one day we each get two, so that's nice. We get a bit more time.
So that's today and tomorrow that you're doing your
Yeah,
hackathon with
today and
Eero.
tomorrow. So why I'm
Fantastic.
wearing my hackathon shirt.
Yeah, awesome. 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 I think maybe my last question for now is just possibly gone right out of my mind. The thing I did want to say about the projects was that you do 7 group projects during the boot camp, whether you're in the part-time or the full-time, and that's just, they're 24 hours really, Nikki? They're like really,
Yeah,
really fast. And they're designed for learning. So everything we do in the program is designed for learning as opposed to being designed for like output. We're not
yeah,
interested in you getting something like a perfectly working app. We want you to have the range of learning experiences that make you a really robust developer when you get out. And they start out at one day a week in the full-time program, and they increase to 2 days, and then 4 days, and then 8 days.
yeah,
And in the part-time program, they run monthly during the boot camp. Sort of planning starts on Friday, and then they run over Saturday and Sunday, where you present and to pre-record you record your presentations to share with the cohort on Sunday. and they
It's
run
so fun.
all the way through. They're fun, right? They're fun, and
So fun.
they give you an opportunity to really test everything that you've learned in your pair programming and in your group project and your challenge-based work during the sprint or during the
Oh, actually, there's one thing that I might actually mention with pair programming that is so has been so invaluable. Having the
right.
experience of coding with another person, because I found when you're doing code reviews with analyst testers, which was at FNZ, what they called like a tester, and I would have to record, put my screen on a team session and have the tester watching me while I was kind of doing a functional review. Or if I had a senior developer and need to show code, it's definitely really helps with confidence when you've done pair programming before. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And there's a set of competencies that you get exposed to in Dev Academy that put you at a different starting point when you get out into the industry. Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. We'll move on, and I'm going to jump back a slide to tell you a bit about some of the employers that we have, and then we'll come down. And thank you for this little bit, Nikki. I'm sure there'll be lots more chance to talk or to share more as we go. Thank you. So, oh, I wonder if I can do this. Yeah. So as I said, we've got over 700 employers who have hired a Dev Academy grad, and we love that. I think our employers really make the network of the Dev Academy and the alumni and the relevance of the program what it is. And here are some of them. So you'll know names like Halter and Tracksuit and Henry. You'll know Zero, TradeMe, Spark, BNZ, and PushPay. And I think what's really interesting at this moment is that every one of these companies is going through an AI transformation, and we are starting to hear we're already hearing stories about hiring juniors who are AI first, who have only learned in the AI world. And that's a really good thing. I think we're early on it, as in when software developers are building software with AI, and perhaps Nikki, we could speak to this further down the track in the call, what your experience has been like with that. When software developers are building with AI, they're going faster, they're building more features, and as I said earlier, their role is changing. Every one of these companies is going through that transformation right now. And so Dev Academy program that is based fundamentally in building software, building full stack software in TypeScript and JavaScript is is the fundamental learning that you need to be ready to be an AI developer. And then we run on top of that a series of ChatGPT, Codex, Claude, and Gemini workflows that allow you to plan, brainstorm, journal, and eventually code with agents to give you the experience that you need to come into companies like these. We're going to keep going. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how the course is structured. You'll know this, but if you don't, we can make sure that you cover it off. So we have two programs. The full-time program is intensive, it's live, it runs fully remotely now with co-working in Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch options. It's 17 weeks long. It is structured as I'll come to the more details of it in a moment. And part-time is much more flexible. It's designed for people who are full-time parents or full-time in work and or have other commitments that mean they don't want to do the full-time program. It's 46 weeks. It effectively runs across the course of a year. And the contact time in it is really, really targeted so that it's the most valuable contact time, like the group projects, like the human skills, like some pair programming, and so on. So we love that we've got both options available. They're the same curriculum. They're exactly the same curriculum. We draw from the same GitHub repo for both programs, the same support we have in those. So we have multiple teachers across cohorts, and the full-time program has a series of live teachers who are there with you day to day, and the part-time program has at least one, sometimes two tutors who are there with you, usually in daytime slots and also in evening slots, just to coach you through the program and coach you and your cohort through the program. They both have the same fees as well, so it's important we get that question a lot. Here's the part-time course. So roughly it's 20 hours a week, and it's a full 20 hours a week. People ask me, how can you do this program? How can you do the Dev Academy program over such a long time, over a year, and still get all of the same skills you need from your 3-year computer science degree and so on. And Nikki's spoken to that already. The reality is we really pack it full. So you do 10 weeks of foundations at 20 hours a week, and you do 28 weeks of boot camp at 20 hours a week, and you do the 2 weeks of careers at about 25 hours a week. As I said in the boot camp, you do a monthly group project, and for the first 10 weeks, you also do human skills, which is in the evenings. That's probably what you need to know about part-time. Full-time is different, and this is really where Dev Academy originated from. 6 weeks at 40 hours a week, 9 weeks at 60 hours a week, and then 2 weeks at 25 hours a week with our job seeking careers platform. Hmm. It's a lot. It's intense, but it's actually also really, really fun. And we give you lots of advice around how to prepare well for it as you prep for the program. And some of you will have already had a phone call with me. If you haven't, you can book a phone call with me. I'm always happy to talk through with people. And I probably haven't said, but my role is general manager here. So I'm kind of across everything. And we can also link in some teachers if you do want to have a chat with them down the track. In this program, you're going to build full stack apps. You're going to do hundreds of hours of pair programming, and team programming. You're going to get human skills. And as I said, you are going to learn what we think is probably the bleeding edge in terms of AI, not because we are in the hype space. We're really lucky that our co-founder, Joshua, has been in this space and really practicing for the last 3.5 years since before ChatGPT. But because we are starting to see developers say, I have to use AI. I can't do my job without it. And then they're also saying it's actually a lot of fun. So I'm really glad that I get to. Do you want to talk a little bit at all, Nikki, to what it's been like building with AI in the last, say,
Yeah,
6 months? It's changed a lot, eh?
so much. The industry is definitely it's the future. And what's really cool actually about working at eRoad and starting 3 weeks ago is because in preparation for our hackathon, we've had workshops with different AI-based companies. And
Cool.
the things that they're doing at the moment really are, it's insane what AI is capable of. And so I think being able to even just have a look at what's out there and get to learn about the capabilities of AI and ways that we can actually leverage it is really what will keep you ahead in terms of getting jobs as a software developer, which is something that learning about AI and being excited about it. I'd say one thing that I've learned working in the industry while AI's been on the rise is definitely don't be afraid of AI, use it.
Mm,
So yeah,
mm,
use it
mm,
as a tool and leverage it to, and especially when you're having interviews, I'd recommend checking that, talking to people as well and saying, or talking to them and saying that you're really eager to learn more about AI because that is what companies are looking for. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, thanks, Nikki. And we know we I would say we and I both know, Nikki, that there is a lot of hype out there. There's this like, wow, sparkly. And we distinguish between the technology. I've just seen a question came into the chat, so I'll pull that up in a moment. We distinguish between the technology. It's a good question, Dom. We'll come to that. The difference between the technology, which is fundamentally powerful, intelligent in the sense that it can hold large amounts of information and context that can produce repeatable tasks quickly. And it's also the point I want to make is that we're distinguishing between the hype, which is people trying to sell lots of different products, to the effective the way that it's changing the developer role, which is it's taking all of the easily automated parts of it and it's giving you more time to focus on the creative problem solving, what the user really wants, what the customer really wants, what the community that you're serving really wants, because it can take away a lot of the repeatable, mundane, rote tasks in your experience. So, Dom, you've asked, would AI ever replace developers' jobs? And quite honestly, we've been scratching our head about that for the last 2 years. What we're hearing is that we're hearing two things. One is that AI massively increases the amount of code that you can write. It means that you can write thousands of lines of code in the time it would take you to have written 200 in the world before automation. So one of the views that we're starting to develop is that more people are going to write. There's going to be more software made for more use cases. And software is going to be built for things that we didn't ever have the money or the time or the inclination to build software for. I knew of a guy who built a custom app for his DJ library, which allowed him to structure his library, a DJing library, and come up with 12 different recommendations for his set based on all of the different tonal analysis inside that library. So he built that custom for himself in 2 or 3 days, but he never would have done it. It would have cost 10 or 12 grand to get someone to build that for him previously. So the first thing we know is that we think more software is going to be made. The second thing we know is that fundamentally it's a tool for people to use. And we hear a lot about AI slop. We hear a lot about technology going in different directions. We hear a lot about the technology making mistakes. We hear a lot about it's just garbage code. So what we know about humans is that software developers is the role's really changing very quickly into the person who has the ability to plan, review, evaluate, and then iterate on the coding workflow. So the answer is the role's going to change very, very quickly. We're going to build more software, and we think that the role for the kind of developers that you get to grow into at Dev Academy, absolutely still very, very relevant. We'll see. So the program we teach a range of fundamentals. We teach HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and TypeScript. And increasingly, we're able to teach more and more JavaScript and TypeScript, which is the interactivity of the web. It's the real guts of full stack software development. Whereas an HTML and CSS is the layout and styling of web pages. JavaScript and TypeScript is the real powerful compute that exists in software apps. So we're teaching more and more of that, and AI is helping us do that because the HTML and CSS can be taken care of. We also teach on the front end and us on the browser, we teach React, and on the server side, we teach Node.js, SQLite, and you have to learn core programming fundamentals like Git and GitHub. And now, of course, we're introducing Gemini, Claude, Copilot, and some of the new emerging technologies into the program as well. This is a little bit of an insight into how our world works in the digital realm. Every student, every cohort is working in Discord, and we love Discord for two reasons. One is that it's really easy to structure chat rooms, so you know exactly where you text rooms, so you know exactly where you want to go. This is our graduation from last week. These are our teachers saying appreciating the achievements of everyone. And then the other thing that we can do in Discord is we can use voice rooms, which allows you to plug in VS Code and allows you to pair program together in a way that's like super seamless. So this has given us a lot of flexibility in how we teach and where we teach and these sort of things and where you learn. You can learn from anywhere in the country, or you can learn from our co-working spaces in the full-time program. This is just going to show you a little bit of some of those channels you can't see. And this is just one cohort. So this is the most recent full-time cohort. The one at the bottom there is the most recent part-time cohort. So they're still underway. The next thing, here's an example of one of our co-working spaces here in Wellington, in Nikki. And we're in co-working spaces. We love it because there's lots of mixing between different companies. Some of our grads work out of these spaces, and it means that you can come and be here, be in a professional environment, be in an environment that's like your workspace, and you can study with us. Where sometimes our tutors are in those locations, and sometimes it's me who's running those spaces. And in spaces like these, we're giving you the space to do online pair programming, online live coding, online group projects, and also in-person group projects, in-person programming, pair programming as you go through the course. The last thing I think we come to now is around careers. And this is Rohan. Rohan is our co-founder. His whole career has been in recruitment, and he's been pathwaying people into jobs in Dev Academy for since the first cohort in 2013. In career skills, we're going to get you in front of hiring managers and more former graduates to get some more detail about what that hiring process is like in tech. We're going to cover CVs, cover letters, and we're going to help you clean up your digital presence so that you can really target the roles and opportunities that you want. And we're also going to cover interviewing and salary negotiation. People say it's really useful. No one teaches this. Why does no one teach this? And so we're really proud, I think, that we get to do that in the work that we do in the program. And I've put this piece here around the formula to land the right role for you. And that what we know is that you can apply to hundreds of roles and put out your CV to hundreds of roles on Seek. But what we know that makes a difference for our graduates getting work is doing all probably three of the most essential things: attending a lot of events, continuing to code 20 hours a week, and really going through your networks to connect with people who will go for a beer or go for a coffee with you and tell you about their company and tell you about where they are and so on. And we help with some of that as well. We give you some after career skills. We do some one-on-one coaching on an as needed basis as well. So that's Rohan. He's actually running career skills now for our latest cohort. And we're starting to see the very, very earliest of those graduates starting to engage in hiring processes, which is great to see. I think I'm going to touch on one last thing, and folks, you may have questions. Don, let me know how I did on that on your earlier question. If you've got follow-ons, let's cover those. Just start putting them in the chat now because we're coming to the end, and we'll probably Nikki and I might have a bit of a chat, and then we'll begin to close. So, question, is this course for me? That is really what we're here to support you with. The program is unique. It is fast-paced, even in the part-time program. We really put a lot of empathy into the work that we do, and it's unique for lots of different ways. The thing, however, is that the thing that's most unique about it is it's designed to help you get work in the industry, and that's what we stand by and we're really proud of. And it is something that's just a really, really beautiful, beautiful thing that we can help people do in the tech industry. The things that you need to know about whether what the requirements are and the process and so on are that if you're under 20, you need to have NCA level 2, but we do have pathways around that. If you're over 20, and in all cases, we're always going to interview you once you apply to the program. An interview is kind of it's a follow-up chat. It's around your goals, where you see yourself going, and what support you might have and might want. And we we want to make sure that we're tailoring our work to people who are coming through. So we take time at that point in the process. The commitment, as we say, it's 46 weeks over the course of a year. It's 17 weeks over the course of 4 months. And on the full-time program, it's just demanding enough that we want to help people plan to take time off work during the boot camp, the 9 weeks. And in the part-time program, we want to help people if they are working shift work or they're working different hours. We want to help people make sure they can attend those group projects and the human skills, which we provide dates for in advance. Success, right? The tech industry is hiring right now. We're seeing people get work in all of those companies that we had, but we're seeing people take longer to go into jobs at the moment. That's because the whole economy is incredibly tight, and also tech is tight as well. They haven't turned the tap back on since the post-COVID tightening. We see our first graduates getting work, say, within a month of graduating, but it takes longer. It's taking longer for other graduates. It might be 3 to 6 to 12 months as you go through. And the things that really help with that are really around the career skills training that we give you. Keep coding, keep connecting, keep attending events and so on. And we, like you say, we do coach you through that. So really, really proud of that. Something like 97% of people finish the program as they come through. It's kind of the wraparound support that we do once they come into the boot camp. And we say that we have over 1,000 graduates who have said 8 or 9 or 10 out of 10, I would recommend this to a friend. So we're really proud of that as well. The fees. Now you can get this program on student loan. You can get it on fees free, and you can get it, and if you are paying privately or personally, we have payment plans. So the program is $13,000. It is fully funded on student loans, so that's the first port of call I always send people to. Many people can get a refund on it through fees free. It's covered under the final year fees free. And when it comes to payment plans, some people are in situations where they really want that, or they want that. We're always going to talk with you about whether it's a monthly payment or a fortnightly payment as you go through the course. Let's see what else we've got. I think that's going to bring us to a close. As I say, as I say, the tech industry is changing incredibly fast right now. It's 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 un I was about to say it's unusual, but it's probably not unusual in terms of the way that all industries go through automation transformations, automation moments. Tech is definitely going through that right now. It's a very exciting time to be writing code, and we're hearing that from people. We're hearing that it's a rewarding, creative career that people are loving. And I think we're creating an environment where you can really grow your technical skills as well as your professional skills in coming through the program. So I wonder, Nikki, if you've got any reflections you want to share now that we're coming to the end of the call. And as you do, perhaps just if there are final questions, throw those into the chat as well.
Yeah, I guess it's been quite nice being here today and hearing your presentation as well, Jack. That was great. So thank you for having me here. It's been quite nice reflecting on just how much fun I had. And I think one final comment that or thought that I would share with you all is that if you do decide to go and do the boot camp, do remember to enjoy it while you're there
Hmm.
because it's an intense process, but you make so many long-lasting connections with the people that are in your cohort and with this team at Dev Academy as well because of all of that support and how much time that you spend together. It really is a rewarding experience and there's so much new things and so many new challenges that you go through. But one thing looking back on it that I would say is just how much, yeah, just how much I enjoyed the course and to remember to enjoy it at the time if you do go.
Oh, thanks, Nikki. And thanks for telling a bit of your story as well. It's like I say, I think it's a really exciting time to be writing software and you're in a great space. I know that others are following you into there as well. So that's us. I hope you all have great evenings and we will wrap here. Thank you. We'll talk to
Thanks,
you all
everyone.
soon. Bye.
Bye.